What's up? This is Brian from Nile and Imperishable, and you're watching That Metal Interview.
That Metal Interview.
So, where you at? What part of the planet are you at?
Oh, I'm at home in South Carolina, out here in the country.
Awesome. So we spoke about a year ago, maybe, give or take. What's new so far? What's different, Brian? You did talk about this project, Imperishable, back then. I'm not sure what stage you were at as far as production and the writing process, but where are you at now in comparison to last year?
Oh, musically, taking a little bit more of a break. Not pushing as hard, I guess, just because, after doing the last Nile record and doing this Imperishable record, and I also put out a classical guitar record, doing 3 records in the span of less than 2 years is just
Crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot. Which actually, to be honest, I guess the Imperishable record was kind of done first, really. But that's beside the fact. It's just cramming all that in. Just kind of resetting a little bit and not pushing so hard. There's a Black Sabbath Ozzy Osbourne tribute that I've been invited to play at, so learning some songs with some friends, and
Okay, cool.
being pretty low key, just gonna do that. And other than that, just whenever I pick up the guitar, I'm always writing, always tinkering around, but not pushing too much right now. Kind of enjoying doing other things in life.
What's your favorite Black Sabbath or Ozzy track? Now that you brought up those names.
Oh Jesus, man! I can't name you one single song.
So many.
Yeah, I can go by, even records. I love like Behind the Wall of Sleep. I love Hand of Doom. I love Lord of This World, Into the Void, Snowblind.
Too many.
The National Acrobat. I love that song. It's, Megalomania. Those for the first 6 Sabbath records are just
Killer.
masterpieces. And Ozzy's solo stuff as well. Pretty much, the Diary of a Madman is another masterpiece.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just a bunch of all kinds of great tracks. Sorry, my son's trying to play drums during this interview.
Okay, that's fine. It's
No. It's not fine. He's 3.
No. Okay.
Not going to be good.
Yeah, I understand. I guess it's not fine. So let's speak of Imperishable, Brian.
Sure.
How was this born, this idea, this project? Your idea for sure, right? How did you choose these guys? If you can name the musicians involved,
It kind of, this whole thing was kind of born out of, let me go back in time and think of where I was, really. It was after I did the Vile Nilotic Rites with Nile, and was, just playing all this really technical stuff. And I don't know, I just, everything that I started writing during the pandemic of 2020, none of it was really fitting with any of the stuff that I write in Nile, So I just thought, this sounds like something different. It's a little more, blackened tinge rather than, more technical guitar work, which is, I don't know, I was just being drawn to stuff like that. And, so again, just kind of putting together ideas and formulating things. And my previous band, Inthian, my bass player, we'd kind of disband, and he wasn't doing too much, even though he does have another band, Olkoth. But I started talking to him, and I was like, man, I got some ideas I'm kind of working with. We should do something. And Alex is his name, Alex Rush. And we started emailing each other because, again, this was 2020. Like nobody was touring, nobody was, the music industry kind of shut down for 6 months or so. So everybody was writing, everybody was sending files back and forth, and that's what we did. We wrote a ton of riffs, and old ideas, new ideas, just compiling things, just being songwriters. And before we knew it, we had 4 or 5 songs down and started searching for a drummer. And went through a few different people, kind of jammed with one dude. It didn't work out, and I had another friend over in Europe that was just going to record it for us, and he's a great drummer too. But it didn't work out, and I just said, hell with it. I knew Derek because I had met him on tour with Nile and stuff, and he has a history with Nile and George, of course. So I just hit him up and sent him the tracks, and he dug it and said, yeah, I'd love to do it. So he was about to go on tour with Anthrax, actually, because he was replacing Charlie Benante.
Okay.
Because Charlie was going on tour with Pantera.
Pantera, yep.
He was like, yeah, man, I'm sitting in for Charlie, but I'll be jamming the songs while I'm on tour. So whenever I get back, I can just record the tracks. And he did, like, literally as soon as he came back, he, just did 1 or 2 takes of each song. I mean, he's notorious for that,
Monster.
And, yeah, I mean, he's an elite extreme metal drummer, the world class.
Wow.
So yeah, that was kind of that. And this was at the same time I was kind of doing the Nile record as well. I was doing my second Nile record, The Underworld Awaits Us All. So it kind of got put on the back burner for a while, right? And life happens; these things happen. It wasn't a priority at the time,
So when you say these songs didn't fit the Nile suit, if you will, where did this come from? It's a different type of metal. I mean, it's awesome metal. I got to hear some of the stuff. So where did this come from? This other, is it from the Black Sabbath influence? It's more simple, I guess, or what?
Well, I mean, I don't know. We listen to all types of music. Yeah, I love Black Sabbath. I love black metal. Classical guitar. I mean, I love all different types of music. And as far as why it doesn't fit in the vein of Nile, it's just Nile has its own distinguished sound, and fans expect that. The down-tuned guitars, the exotic influence, technical at times, and I have other guitars that aren't always tuned down to drop A. So you're playing in like D standard, and it's like it doesn't sound like Nile.
Yeah.
At all. So, you have these ideas and you want to do something with them. Like you want to have another outlet of expression. Yeah, and that's kind of where it came from. And I was also, I'm a big fan of Angel Corpse and Emperor, and even older blackened death metal like Murkskog and Zyklon and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's where some of the influence here came from, just a little more straightforward riffing rather than as much technicality, because let's face it, when I was touring in Nile, I was getting a lot of technical guitar work in.
Crazy.
Yeah, and so, as an artist, you do the opposite of that sometimes. Sometimes if you're touring for months and months, sometimes, man, you want to unplug.
Yeah.
And, which I didn't exactly do that for this record. It's still a blistering fast record, but just
It is. It's awesome. How is your relationship with Carl Sanders of Nile? Because last time we spoke, you mentioned you stopped touring. They were on tour actually, and you're at home. So. There's a replacement there, a replacement guy.
Exactly.
So how's your relationship now with Carl? And he knows you're putting out all these other records, an acoustic, a metal album. Are you guys okay with that, or are you not a part of it?
I mean, My relationship with Carl and George is still, and Brad and everybody else in Nile is still great. I mean, we're still, obviously don't talk quite as much as we used to because we're not working together all the time. But yeah, we're still very much in contact, and that's his amplifier right there.
Oh yeah.
I borrowed it from him a week ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, it's still great. I mean, he encouraging creativity. He puts out his own records and does other projects as well. So
Yeah, I saw that. A couple of solo things. Yeah, he does that too. So he's cool with your band and your projects. That's cool. Wow. There's this one story where Hetfield of Metallica. Everybody knows the story where Jason used to try to, he made that side project Echo Brain or something.
yeah,
And James didn't approve of it or something. So we all know that story. That's why I'm asking. I don't know where your relationship is with Carl. So yeah. That's
well, you could say a couple different things there. I think number one, Nile isn't Metallica. Like, there's not millions of dollars riding on it.
Right.
While they are an upper level death metal band, it's still death metal. It's not Judas Priest. But also, Carl is different from James too. They're different people, and I think even James has came out and admitted, like, yeah, I was kind of wrong.
Yeah.
for
True.
doing that. So
True that. That's just true. He came out and now he thinks different now. Yeah, that's true. So maybe different world. Maybe there exists a band where Jason's still in the band, huh? In the parallel universe.
Yeah, a parallel universe.
Yeah. I mean, I like it the way Robert plays, but it's just theory stuff.
No, I know what you mean. Like, he's a great player, but I really liked Jason. I thought his stage presence was just,
Kicks ass.
he took them to a different place. I think. Nobody could replace Cliff and his influence, but Jason was the right guy for the job.
Yeah. James would say it in different interviews. He would say, "Jason, you're too metal for us."
Yeah, right.
He would say stuff like that. So he was just always 110%, a ball of energy. So the story.
Yeah.
We all know the story.
You can tell too, man. Seeing him live, seeing him on stage, it's like, whoa.
So a revelation of purity. It's dropping in a couple of days here, less than a week here. What's behind the title, Brian? What's going on there? Where'd this come from?
No, it's kind of a kind of an anti-religious thing. The idea of purity in the Christian sense and not being a religious type. That revelation of what actual purity is free of religion, in a way. It's loosely based around that, and it just sounded like a cool title. It's like I had the title in my head and I kind of had to come up with what it meant after that.
It is an awesome title. So when you mention you sent Alex your tracks, you mean your guitars and several tracks and stuff? And how about the drums? Were they electric with a pad and stuff, or what? How did you produce that demo? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for my own demos, I always just program drums. Usually like Superior Drummer, something like that, and record my guitars. Just demo scratch guitars. All that stuff changes, but yeah, I program drums, and he programs drums as well. Just because, a riff and song ideas never truly come to life. You can't really paint the picture well until a drummer is involved, and that relationship between the riff and the groove that the drummer is playing with, that's what really makes parts fit together. Whatever the vocals are one thing, or whatever bass stuff is another, or keyboards or whatever you have going on, it's the riff and the drums. Those are like the meat and potatoes of the song. So even whenever Alex would send me his ideas, there wouldn't be any bass. It would be like him playing guitar and his drum program.
Yeah.
So yeah, we sent tons of ideas back and forth, and I think I wrote 4 of them myself, and I think he wrote parts of 3 of them. I still had a hand in a lot of arranging, back and forth. I mean, but it is largely a collaborative effort. I'd say that it wouldn't sound the same without Alex.
Did you try to? You mentioned it's different than Nile. Once you made up your mind on this is not Nile stuff. Did you purposely go that route? This is this. Let's go this way. Whatever kind of metal this is, and my vocals will be different. Or how did you base your vocals on? Is it going to be like Nile, or it's going to be a different thing, or what?
It's just what came natural. It's just what came natural. I didn't want it to be like overly deep and brutal, or in that realm. I definitely wanted my vocals to be a little more mid-range, and I do enjoy clean singing sometimes. So, because I am a fan of Alice in Chains and harmonized vocals, and I kind of wanted to fit that into some sort of over blast beats, some sort of there are bands that have done it before, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to try that, and there had never been. This is the first record I've ever made. I wrote all the lyrics, because every other record, Carl wrote all the Nile stuff I played on, and even Inthian, the old guitar player, he wrote most of those lyrics, where I had a hand in it, but I'm not sure if that answered your question or not.
Yeah. That's cool. How about your guitar tone? Did you just go a different route, or did you say, okay, this is what I play, this is my sound, and here it goes, or did you try to?
I had it reamped. I had it reamped by Ronnie Bjornstrom. He's done work with Aeon and what's that other band? Blood Red Throne. I can't remember the name of the band he played. Maybe he plays at Blood Red Throne. But I had heard some of his work, and I just recorded my stuff DI, and the plug-in thing is like, it's okay for demos, and the Axe effects, I've got one right here. They sound amazing. For a studio lead, or for making demos, or even live, it's fine. But for records, I feel like if you want to have a little more individual tone, maybe use a real amp with a real cabinet. There's just so many different possibilities. So I sent this to somebody else that could reamp it for me. Plus, after writing and rewriting and getting all the performances together, and then you record it, man, your ears, like, you don't even know what you're listening to anymore. When you're making records like this, the musicians aren't the ones that need to be making the decisions on, adjusting knobs and this and that. Like, your ears are fucked. Yeah. So send it to somebody else, have them, reamp and mix, and you can have an opinion, let's turn this up or turn this down, or so he reamped, what was that? It was an Engel Iron Ball, I think is what he used. Yeah.
Are you speaking of Jamie King, or?
No, Jamie mixed it, but my guitar tone was made by Ronnie Bjornstrom.
Okay. So how does one go about choosing who's going to mix this? For example, like Jamie King, how did he come into the picture? How does one go about that,
Well, I had worked with Jamie a little bit before with some of the Inthian stuff that I had done. And he does a great job, and it's affordable price. And secondly, he lives just one state over from me.
Okay.
My initial plan was to just drive up there, but he was doing such a good job, like when he sent me the first reference mixes, that there really wasn't a point in driving up there. But I mean, that was a factor, he was close. And before there was any kind of money exchange or whatever, I told him what I wanted. I said, I don't want any sampled drums. I don't want, none of this record is quantized. None of it is overly edited. I didn't want, and neither did Derek. Derek didn't want any of his drums sound replaced or anything like that. We kind of wanted it a little more old school sounding. And that's what I wanted initially. So when Derek was telling me that, I was like, yeah, you're the dude for the job. And whenever I told this all to Jamie, he was perfectly fine with it, and which is it was somewhat uncommon for this kind of music nowadays. I feel like most bands, you can just quantize, edit, get it locked onto the grid and sample replace, and now all these fucking records sound the same, And that's not to take away from anybody, because there's some fantastic musicians and there's some fantastic bands making some great music out there, but the production side of it, it can just be a little taxing on your ears. So I wanted to hear something that had less computer elements to it,
Not too robotic. Yep.
Not too robotic, yeah. Not too, a little more human. There's some mistakes on this record. Not everything is just perfectly in line. Like, it's just played how it is. And as long as it felt right, that's the thing. You want to convey some sort of feeling. And most of this record is like anger.
I think people appreciate mistakes. I mean, human stuff. Of course, they're not huge mistakes, but I know what you mean.
It's honesty. I think people appreciate the honesty.
I like that. I like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Let me say this: Derek's performance is a little more honest than mine. Derek can play these songs straight all the way through, damn near perfect. I can't quite do that, like for a record to be recorded and like I had to take it, by a little bit more chunks.
Yeah, maybe he's not human.
Yeah, I mean he's inhuman, human, right?
Right, alien type. He's a beast, of course. He's just an incredible musician. How about 7 tracks, Brian? There's 7 tracks on this. What is an EP? What is an LP for people that don't know? Like, does 7 tracks? Does that mean it's an EP? It's not an EP, right?
No, an EP typically is like no more than 5 songs, and I think it has more to do with like the length of the record. So there is only 7 songs. However, the last song is like almost 8 minutes long. So it's over 30 minutes of music. So I feel like most bands just do 8 songs on a record. But 7 felt more magical for some reason. I didn't want to have any filler songs or any like a keyboard intro or whatever. And there were 1 or 2 other songs that we could have further developed that could have made it, but we just decided, you know what? These songs sound like they belong together, and this gets our message across. So we just rolled with that.
It's awesome metal. Here's the dumb question, the typical question, Brian. Which is your favorite track here?
Oh, that changes bit to bit. I think, I don't know. That's like
a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like picking like your favorite kid or something.
Right? It's impossible. Yep, I get you.
Yeah, probably Oath of Disgust. I think that first single that we released is probably the strongest one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that one. Or the final, the last track, the big long one, The Enduring Light of Irreverence. Yeah. That's that one's a little different from the other ones, where the other ones are arranged a little bit better, in almost single format. But the Irreverence is very linear. It just kind of goes from riff to riff, and I think there's like 4 guitar solos in it. You know, it's a standout track, so I might have to go with that one. You know, but that would change
Crazy. It's crazy
every
stuff.
day of the week.
People are gonna love this stuff. How about the album cover, Brian? Who's the guy responsible for the cover here?
Oh yeah, Nestor. He did that. Yeah, he's got all kinds of stuff, man. It's a Mexican artist.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I just saw some of his artwork on some social media platform, and I hit him up, and he was just really cool, and he had all kinds of stuff for sale, just all kinds of artwork. And I said, you know, I like this one. Can we change this and this and this, and just make it a little more personalized? And he, you know, we spent a week just going back and forth, and
Awesome.
that was done really early on. Actually, when I was writing these songs, I had the logo made, and I hit up Nestor, and he had that done before I'd even talked to Derek.
Yep.
There's another artist I really like too that did the shirt design, Misanthropic Illustrations, and man, that dude's incredible too. You know, there's some really amazing artists out there.
For sure. For sure. Last time we spoke, Brian, you mentioned you're done with touring, or at least long tours. At least you might be interested in one-offs. Maybe you mentioned that, in different words, of course. Will we see Imperishable in Texas, for example, where I'm at, or anywhere? People listening around the world, you know, people want to see this live too, you know. But
yeah, I understand that, and don't get me wrong. It would be fulfilling for me to get out there and play it live, but logistically, I'm still somewhat in the same place with my home life, where going out touring and playing just isn't in the cards for me right now. You know, it'd be quite difficult, you know, because I run my own business, and you know, have kids and a wife, and you know what I mean, dogs. We have chickens now, so it'd be hard to like put stuff together and like leave. And, you know, your kids are only young for a short amount of time. You know.
yeah,
so
exactly. Family. You're a family man. Yeah.
That's
Fine.
kind of become priority. You know, I write all my music at nighttime, and yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. It's normal. It's you know, we're human, and you're a family guy. You know, so am I.
Well, and the other thing is this too. I'll just add to that real quick, that I spent, oh man, I don't know, 15, almost 20 years, you know, trying to play, whether it be driving back and forth to rehearsals and going to gigs. You know, I played in cover bands and teaching lessons all the time, and you know, being in a metal band and playing here, and of course, you know, joining Nile. And I spent a lot of time. I gave a lot of my time to live performance.
Yeah,
you know, and playing live. And like I said, like I feel like my time is better spent just with my kids right now.
It's awesome.
You know.
So before I let you go, Brian, what's next on your agenda here? What's on your plan book? Any Nile stuff, or any more Imperishable or NTN or anything like that?
Well, the next thing on my list for this evening is finish building the chicken coop.
Nice.
And
nice.
hopefully catch these raccoons that have been
Oh,
getting into our chicken coop.
oh, no way! Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal what they do to them. They didn't even eat our chickens. They decapitated them.
Oh man.
That's pretty fucking metal. And normally, I would applaud it, but you know what? They're on my property, and I'm pretty pissed about it. So that's what's imminent on my agenda right now. Musically, after that, as I mentioned, the Ozzy Sabbath tribute that's coming up. I'm going to be doing that, and other than that, just writing some music. Just writing. Of course, there's a few songs that we'd like to finish up for the next Imperishable record, because we do plan on putting out a second one. Awesome. Nile, I think, is kind of doing the same thing. Like, everybody's kind of sitting back after the big push for making that last record, and I'm sure that there will be some things in the work before too long.
Oh, cool.
But they're doing good, and they're busy, and they're out there, and they're about to go on another U.S. run, I think, next month.
That's true, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, the Cryptopsy.
Okay.
I'm a little jealous about it. Maybe I'll have to come out of retirement for that one.
Yeah, you should. Go out on tour, just give it one more shot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still young. So, thank you, Brian.
Yeah, I'm at that awkward age where old people still think I'm young, but young people think I'm old.
No, I think old is 90 or 100, and that to me is old.
Well, it's a perception thing.
Yeah, it's just a number. Yeah, it's a number. It's just a number, Brian. So you're good.
That's right.
So thank you for your time, and we're looking forward. The people that have not heard the full album, Revelation and Purity, August 29th. So look out for it. People people listening and watching. So thank you, Brian, for your time. And
yes, sir.
We'll see you in Texas sometime soon, maybe.
Yeah, man, I'd love to. And if not, then we'll be doing another interview next time I put something out.
Of course, we got it. You got you, man. Keep it metal, and thank you for your time, Brian.
All right, brother. Thank you, man.
And there you had it. Mr. Brian Kingsland presents the first full-length album, Revelation and Purity, from his new project, Imperishable. Everlasting Spew Records dropped August 29th, 2025. It is at your grasp. You guys have access to it through whichever way it is that you listen to music nowadays. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Physical copies, look for Mr. Brian Kingsland on social media, Everlasting Spew Records, and order your copy today. Revelation and Purity contains 7 awesome tracks that you'll like and that you'll love for sure if you're into extreme metal or something that sounds like Nile. And I think it's not Nile, it's similar. Brian's voice is in there. You have a killer drummer, of course, Derek Roddy, who is just a beast on the drums. Mr. Alex Rush on the bass. 7 tracks that will melt your face. So support the band. Let's see if we can convince Brian to go back on the road and maybe do a couple of shows, one-offs, as he spoke to us about not touring anymore. And as I understood, he is a family man, which is just normal, as a lot of us are. He wants to spend time with his family and still does produce awesome metal in the studio. So congrats to Brian, Alex, and Derek for this piece of art that they have made for us metal fanatics. So much appreciated, Brian. Awesome job. And we can't wait for the sophomore record from Imperishable, and hopefully see you guys sometime, maybe in a local bar, local club situation, festival, somewhere close to your home, so you won't have to go very, very far, and see some live stuff from Imperishable. Imagine that, guys. Some live Oath of Disgust, some live Revelation and Purity melt in your face. Anyways, just a suggestion and a wish from a metal fanatic. So thank you, Brian, once more. Thank you, fans and listeners of that metal interview, for your support throughout the years. Thank you for downloading, sharing, ringing the bell for notifications, and supporting the podcast, your podcast. On behalf of your friend James from the state of Texas, don't forget to keep it metal.
That metal interview.